Hello Internet, I'm Moneb and I've been playing Path of Exile. Not too long, like a while ago now actually, I made a video about my Minion Master in Path of Exile, and it's actually getting some hits, so I said I should probably kind of follow up on that. And right now I'm playing them. I'm in a map now, level 68 map with chaos damage and extra damage from lightning, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, this build is still working pretty good, and I was kind of showing out the details of how it worked out, as well as, you know, a couple things about which minions to resurrect. I am using the tentacle creations, or tentacle miscreations, I should say, from the Lunar Temple level 2 and 3. They are still my favorite amongst a list of maybe 5 or 6 that are really good to summon. For getting to summon by zombies. Mean shields ahoy. I was afraid, actually, in this latest update when they decreased the monster damage that it actually would not be able to really do very much content, because the amount of damage that your Specters do is based on the minion they are originally raised from. But no, it's doing it fine. I mean, I've also implemented a couple tactics that decrease the amount of damage I do to pretty much all targets. And now that this room's... Alright, room's clear. No, room's clear. Like I said, I am level 74 now. I've gotten some stuff. The basics now, like I have my raised Specters are permanently linked to Greater Multiple Projectiles because that is just clearly the best idea ever. Minion damage, Life Leech, because now I don't have to worry about raising them very often. Like to kill one of my Specters now, you really have to like Alpha Strike it or something with some kind of either reverse mirror, like a crit mirror, or some kind of crit self-explosion monster or something like that. And fire penetration, specifically because among all of my favorite minions to summon that are projectile minions, 3 of the top 6 are fire elemental type. So it made sense to go fire penetration because that caps their total maximum resistance. So if I come across a monster that is resistant to elemental damage, that drops from 75 to 45%, and I'm still doing pretty good. And I also I use elemental weakness as my curse. And I use arc to stack shock charges to again multiply the damage. And since one of the auras that I'm running is Wrath, everything I have as a pet does lightning damage, so the stock charges stack up pretty quick. And I'm also using elemental proliferation on arc to keep the shock charges going to everybody. Yeah, let's see. And I keep forgetting to summon my actual meat wall. These Specters are doing pretty much 90% of the damage. Zombies and skeletons, their purpose is just to provide a meat wall for the Specters and to blow up and do splash damage with minion instability when the time comes. So I tend to get a little lazy when it comes to skeletons and zombies. I'm you know, turning through a place pretty good, which I'm doing right now. Earlier in this map there were some monsters that were elemental resistant, specifically fire resistant. There were some cinder elemental monsters, and they took a little bit longer to die. Get in here. And that's another problem with like using minions. It's like they don't always go through all the doors you want them to, so you have to kind of like suicide charge into a room. If you saw the previous video, you may notice also that I'm only using 3 Specters now instead of 4. I found that while the Queen's Decree had some really nice stats, the ability to use a wand and shield kind of gives me a little bit more advantage that I feel I couldn't pass up. Like I get a lot of defense out of this shield, and it's the difference between 3,500 energy shield and 2,800, and you know 12 to resist all, 13 fire, 50 extra mana, which gets multiplied greatly. So there's a lot of things on there I really like, and yes, I know I'm using a blue wand. It seems silly, but that is a really good amount of fire damage spell stacking. So I'll just use that. I'm not going to complain. Oh no, I can put a regal orb on it later or something, but that's nice. So I fired it. So that increases my fire damage spells, and A person had mentioned in the comments of a previous video that you can swap Greater Multiple Projectiles off of your Spectre gem once you've already cast them, and then, you know, I could put them on the Fireball then. But since I have chance to ignite and fire penetration linked to that too, your burning damage is based on the damage of the single attack. So if I keep it as a single attack, it does more damage per hit, even though I know that's very, very little for a kind of elemental attack at this point in the game, but it's not my primary damage. But the fire damage is based off the single attack, so the more fire damage in the more spike fire damage there is, the better the burning damage. So, and using the Greater Multiple Projectiles to split that up, so each hit would do less, the burning damage would be less. So I'm not gonna bother with that. I'll just let it live on the Specters. And one of them died. Oh, that makes me feel sad. Well, that makes me okay. I'm gonna have to find something else that I'm gonna want to summon. There were Void Bearers earlier in the map. I like them, so I may hike back and pick one of them up. Oh, these, let's see, yeah, the Val things. They're not a bad choice. I don't tend to like them as much because their refire rate is really slow. So they fire the thing and it's but since their refire rate is so slow, I don't like them. They don't hit much stuff. The Void Bearers are probably my second favorite thing to summon as a Spectre, because the breath attack is a projectile attack and it does get multiplied. And the thing is that it doesn't increase the arc of the projectile thing, so it's the same size cone, there's just way, way more hits per second. So they do a very, very good amount of damage. And also, you can get them at the docks, and they're really easy to get at the docks. Like, you don't have to, you know, hike across the map, and like, they're fairly close to the waypoints. You can just step out of the waypoint, find a pack of them, kill them, get them, and then kind of move on to other things. So if you just kind of need to get some in the beginning. The only problem with them is since they do short-ranged attack, they tend to be closer to the monsters, and so they do tend to get killed more often, just because they're closer to the thing that's likely to explode or whatever. So they're good, but they're not perfect. And neither are the tentacle miscreations either. They actually have a little bit of a the refire time is a little slow. And once they start firing, they kind of fire in the same direction until their animation is done, which is a negative in my book. But the fact that their projectiles pierce is so good that, you know, each projectile may be doing 50% less damage because of Greater Multiple Projectiles, but each thing can hit 4 or 5 minions if they're all packed together. There's the door. So they're still doing a phenomenal amount of damage to a mass of monsters. And really, with it being fire damage, it just means like all the kind of stuff I stack is just that much more effective. And of course, the next monster on my list is the Flame Sentinels from the Solaris, especially the ones that automatically come. Here's another one of my favorite monsters. Actually, these guys are really nice to summon. Their only problem is they tend to be kind of big and they don't go through doors. And which one died? It was the Void Bearer, because I mentioned that they tend to die faster. Alright. Is there a blue one? No. Alright, let's see what you... And your pets are now my pets. Spiders inside. Get in here. Yeah. Come on, guys. Oh, you also have to turn off the screen shake if you're going to use the Queen Carrion things, because their attack does shake the screen quite a bit. And if you have like 3 or 4 of them summoned at a time and they're all doing multiple projectiles, it's like a constant earthquake. So, oh, I have to fight Veil, don't I? Oh no, that's nothing. Spam skeletons, cover please. And he's dead. I did lose a minion, but they did kind of get in his face right away. To be expected. And part of the beauty is that, like, one of the other comments before was that there is a max amount of damage that minions can do because of the way they are, but the Specters really don't have a limit because their damage is based on the level of things. So if you go to a level 75 map, you may only have brought level 68 tentacle creations with you, but once you get there, if you find a monster you like, you can summon them, and then you're doing the same tier of damage as the monsters of the map you're on, and it's all good. So now that I've killed the boss and completed this map, I guess that will be the end of this video. I should probably last a little longer than needed to anyway. I hope that answered a couple questions about how this character has progressed, and actually I should show you... Ooh, right, I've not done that, and I will not be taking my reset. Well, I'm gonna do it. But this is how the map is out. I've noticed nothing over there. So you can see, it's all about... I've gotten every minion node on the map. I have Chaos Inoculation. Just enough physical... It's really not that difficult to build. It's just kind of knowing where all the minion stuff is. Actually, I have not gotten all the minion stuff. There's more minion damage down there, which is probably what I'm doing next. I concentrated on the minion life first because of zombies and the minion instability. So I kind of maxed out the life of all my minions first, and then because before they debuffed the minion damage, or well, I mean the monster damage, I didn't really care. Like the damage my Specters were doing was so overwhelming it wasn't a thing. But now that they did do that nerf, I guess it's more mandatory that I get these last things. So I can still be even doing more damage than I am, if you see what I'm doing now. Beyond that, it's just kind of getting some more mana regen and maybe energy shield as I want it. But this build's pretty much completed at level 75. So consider that 81 will be finished. Alright, I hope that answered, again, all of your questions. If there's more, feel free to comment. I'll probably be making more videos. I've considered making a video about a top 10 list of my favorite minions to summon with greater projectiles, or maybe without, or no, maybe I'll do 2 lists. But, yeah, have a good day, and see you around.